In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some upcoming storms, two in particular that look to drop very, very low in pressure, bring potential severe weather and potential snowfall to certain parts of the nation, among other things. Let's dive into things, and as we take a look, we're just going to dive towards tomorrow to start things out. And as we take a look here, we see that there is major snowfall occurring across the Rocky Mountain range as we have low number one out of those two that I mentioned. 987 in eastern Colorado. Already some thunderstorms forming out ahead of this. Very extreme temperature pattern as we have Arctic air diving down the Rocky Mountain range. Not very rare, but what is this warm air on the eastern front of things just really surging northward up towards Canada. So you can just imagine the swirl going on here. We would have areas in Arizona and New Mexico much, much colder than kind of the central regions of Canada. So a very severe swing there in temperatures depending on where you are west to east. This is going to create a lot of instability and bring the potential for severe weather, of course. As we dive towards the next day on Sunday, April 7th, what we have is this line of thunderstorms developing out ahead of this low. And this is the one major drawback in the direction of severe weather, thankfully, that we have going for us, is that this cold front really, really outpaces the low. The low is located over Nebraska. The cold front is way ahead of it. Typically, you would expect to see this cold front swinging right below it, but with the way the temperature is swinging and this low is stalling out, everything just gets kind of disorganized really quickly, which is the one saving grace here. I still expect the opportunity for severe weather along this frontal boundary and certainly thunderstorm activity. Some snowfall happening to the west and north of that low, heavy in some spots, especially here in Montana, Wyoming, portions of Nebraska and the Dakotas here. Definitely could have some heavy snowfall occurring for those areas. On Monday, on April 8th, as soon as that low started and as quickly as it happened, it's basically gone ahead and gone away. We have some rainfall showers left over for the north central states, but that is basically all that's left over. There is some residual thunderstorms left over from that cold front that's gone ahead and separated, as you can see, from the area that once was our low pressure. And this does bring the opportunity for severe weather with it as well. The Storm Prediction Center has already started to really eyeball this kind of south central and deep south area for multiple days of potential severe weather. So we're going to be watching that really closely, of course, as this could be a pretty big setup and definitely a multi-day setup. I think they have 3 days in a row where they've already indicated at least a 15% chance of severe weather there, which is rather high. Typically, they don't indicate those in the long range, but to have 3 days in a row is rather active, especially considering we're not even at the heart of the severe weather season yet. So we're starting to see that here. Let's move it towards Tuesday, where we're still seeing this, and maybe even more of it by this point, across all of the southeast and south central states, starting in Texas and Oklahoma, all the way eastward towards the Carolinas, and everywhere in between. We're seeing thunderstorm chances and some pockets in there seeing those opportunities for severe weather. By the time we reach Wednesday on the 10th, same story, except now we have a low pressure system, 998 here over Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi. The primary area that I would be watching for severe weather would be underneath this. Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama. Right here is going to be the main area of concern. We do have areas surrounding this low that we also expect thunderstorm activity to happen. However, that area to the south of that low is going to be my main area to watch. By Thursday the 11th, this low travels northeastward, which is going to expand the area of potential severe weather to include a lot of North Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, the panhandle of Florida there, maybe even upwards towards Virginia as well, here along that southeast area. We would be watching for the main area of concern again. I know I keep saying that, but I think it's important to specify. But really, everywhere in here does have a chance at thunderstorms and could be really happening anywhere. And severe weather is always kind of possible, even outside of areas where the Storm Prediction Center indicates. We have seen instances where there's severe weather, where there's technically no specified chance of it happening. We are all human, of course, so things do happen. This is why I always preach being prepared and really expecting the unexpected. I think that's very, very wise advice, especially during severe weather, which just fluctuates and is so unpredictable. Let's take this towards Friday And this low races to the north here, as you can see, up towards eastern Canada. And we have Arctic air diving in behind it for the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes, indicated by this major trough that we have taking place here. The low is diving down to a 981 millibar low pressure center. So again, another low down into the 980s, extremely strong, especially considering the time of year. Typically the wintertime, I feel like we see more lows at this severity. This is rather strong, especially to see two of them during a 10-day period. So I'm definitely leaning towards these two lows being quite major compared to what you would typically expect. By Saturday, we see this low is back up to a 986, that is still relatively strong, and we're seeing heavy snowfall around it for eastern Canada there. The rest of the United States looking a little bit quieter by this point, and that kind of continues for the day on Sunday here, as you can see. As we reach towards Monday, though, it does appear like we have our next round of activity across the plains and central states here, where thunderstorms are firing up, especially for Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, maybe even Louisiana and Kansas and Nebraska there. So multiple states dealing with this thunderstorm activity by that point. The GFS model, let's see where we get agreement and disagreement. We see this initial low climbing up into the plains. Again, that cold front outpacing things. Severe weather certainly a possibility here for these Midwest and plains areas out ahead of that low. Heavy snowfall to the west of it here as well, so really good agreement there. We get this next low to develop, but it stays relatively far south, and we do have a secondary low here as well underneath things. Which could keep things kind of more widespread with the precipitation. This is going to add a little bit more energy to the southern end of things, and I really anticipate there to be a big window of severe weather underneath this primary low, which is now located in between Indiana and Ohio. As we reach forward, we see that the East Coast is impacted by these thunderstorms before everything moves out. As we move towards Sunday, there's a little bit more activity going on than what the European model indicated. We have a weaker low over the northeast here with a cold front dragging behind. We could see thunderstorm activity or even severe weather anywhere underneath that. So keep that in mind. That one moves out. We get another one here for the northeast once again. Kind of maybe trying to get a second piece of energy down here to the south. We could see heavy rainfall for the Carolinas again, and then also some snowfall and rainfall opportunities in the northeast due to this primary low now located over eastern Canada. Once that one moves out, we begin to see much more activity by the 21st here, where we see a 989 millibar low pressure center over the panhandle of Texas. Very strong low once again, so we get three of them here on this GFS model. Heavy snowfall for the Rockies and northern plains here, and then severe weather for everywhere out ahead of it. Could be another severe weather day. Looking forward towards this. So definitely a bunch of big opportunities for severe weather that we're going to need to track. I would say that this early portion of the severe weather season has been and appears to continue to be more active than normal for the early to mid-April timeframe. Definitely very interesting. And who knows what's going to happen in May. This severe weather season seems to be an above average one, but we're going to need to see what it looks like once it's all said and done. Total precipitation here, we have a lot for the East Coast. Here, as all of these storms pretty much at some point move into these areas, and they get a lot of rainfall over the next 10 days, a lot less over the central and eastern states, even than what we've been seeing over the past week. So things are slowing down for the west and central states there. Total snowfall on the European model, no surprise that there's pretty minimal amounts here in the east, some up here for the northern plains, but very minimal. It's all pretty much over the west. The temperature pattern is going to be fluctuating behind all of these lows. There's going to be cold fronts. We're going to see warm fronts out ahead of it. So we get these warm ups in the east, followed by cold air moving in behind things, and then another warm up, and we can anticipate that after this point we're likely going to see another cool down. So expect a roller coaster of a temperature pattern. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. We do upload every single day, so be sure to subscribe for those daily weather videos. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.